Justin, how are you doing this?
So I didn't get a chance to get any free pancakes. So that's one of the things. Again, as a Calgarian, you get the free pancakes. Well, this is your first time here. And so I know about this. This is the busiest, this family day at the Stampede. This is the busiest day of the Calgary Stampede.
I didn't know, but now I gotta know.
Yeah, so we're going to let you just take a look over there. No, I'm not going to do that to you. No, but we've had so far some amazing action in the last yesterday, and it has been just a phenomenal competition. We've got some of the best in the world right now showcased here at in the new Demo Center, so it was a phenomenal experience.
For sure. For those of you watching online, trying to find out where is this competition happening, like Justin mentioned, it is in the BMO mug, in the new BMO expansion. We're up on the third floor of the Pertron Ballroom. Once you go up to the third floor, there'll be people to guide you around and tell you where to go.
Yeah, turn left. I know there's an opportunity to turn right. I know that would be great. Winery down there, but turn left. We would love to see you here. Left the lonely escalators and then just keep going and find the Robot Rodeo right here.
Yeah, so talking about the Robot Rodeo, what do we have in store for today, Kimbo?
Lots of great action. We've got 10 teams ready to battle it out for a chance at the first inaugural Robot Rodeo. So action for every age.
Sounds exciting, sounds exciting. So let's talk about those 10 teams. If we could quickly pull up the rankings for them, we can see how they're performing currently in our 3 different challenges, whether that be our qualification matches, the Egg Tech Skills Challenge, where we're giving away $10,000, and our actual Vex over-under skills challenge.
That's right, better looker Justin. We have now all our rankings when we placed on the board, and we've now got, again, after 1 day of competition, it is in fact Eclipse and 10-ton Robotics that has taken the lead. They are both undefeated in this tournament, and so we're going to see how they stack up later on this morning. We also have following them, behind them, not too far behind, is the Jackson Aerobotics team from Tennessee. So they are about to try to come up with an amazing play. Maybe they made some modifications in the pits to possibly take over in this last in this second half. We also know that the Jackson area, they are known right now, if we bring up the Ag Tech rankings, they are in fact #1 in the division of Ag Tech so far with a time of 1:43. So this is the only event right now with Vex, I think ever, where we are taking the modified over-under game and then changing it to an agricultural tech perspective, and it is in fact right now Jackson taking on that lead, 1:43, and it is not an easy challenge given the arena. As then we bring over now onto our skills division, a lot of teams have yet to go onto this right now from yesterday's competition. Currently in the lead in the skills challenge right now still also is Jackson Robotics. They have taken both skills, and if you saw that performance with their driver control, it was just phenomenal, putting everything in place. And right now trying to catch up them is okay, I pull up, but we have yet to see teams go into skills. This might be their time to do it.
Justin, I don't know if these skills scores are going to hold. I've been watching these teams practice, and based on what I'm seeing, I think there's some contenders coming up with some kickers that are going to get those tri-balls into that field a lot faster than what we saw Jackson Aerobotics do. I expect that there's going to be a lot of movement on that skills board today.
Sounds good. Sounds like we have a lot of action, and we'll be here from all day. We're starting over here bright and early at 9, and we'll go all the way until 5 p.m. where we will crown the eventual Robot Rodeo champions. And with that, I believe we are ready to go to our first qualification match of the day. We're resuming off yesterday into qualification match number 18. Please, let's take it away.
I do not have qualification 18. This is, okay, well, we're going to be professional here. Qualification 18 now underway as we have both the Red Alliance and the Blue Alliance up on the main field. We've got for the Red Alliance 210F, 210Z. That is okay, I pull up, as well as Eclipse up there. And we've got 5177H. That is the team from Redmond, Washington, the Aviation Nerds. Teaming up with them from the team of Western Mechatronics, our all-girls team. All right, teams, let's do this. Let's kick things off this morning. We are now in autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. Autonomous underway, and we can now see We've got OKI pull up now, trying to get that tribal in. And remember, for those people who are first joining us here, these robots are doing these actions programmed. They have no control of the robot. This is done without the use of the control.
Got a little bit of trouble over there in the blue alliance corner. It looks like one of our blue robots was not able to move, or at least not able to complete their autonomous routine. Let's see if it's a connection issue, a selection issue. It'll be interesting to see what they do once the driver control starts. Hopefully it's not a problem and they start moving right away.
We've got a red win, but with no win points, so that means they're going to take the 8 bonus points for this match as we now move into the driver control. Driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. Matchup underway as we have the team from the Aviation Nerds will bring a payload of about 5 tri-balls right now into that blue pay zone. Great job by the Aviation Nerds. On the other side, we've got, it looks to be some Red Alliance members as well. We've got them moving in those tri-balls over there into the red net, and we've now got for OKI pull-up, trying to steal those ones that are from the corner there in that blue tri-ball position, putting them over the other side. We have to remember that 5 points for under the net, 2 points if they can get over to the other side, as again the Aviation Nerds open alleyway. Nice job there on the other side as they now head over, scoring that 1 tri-ball. Great defense coming from Eclipse.
Aviation Nerds got stuck on that barrier for just a second, was able to pull up, but definitely kept them from doing some of the scoring I know they're hoping to do right now. Red is saying no, 210F says you're not making it to the goal.
That is great defense coming from that team OKI pull up, and now there's a little bit of shoving action coming from the Aviation Nerds. Coming from the other side now, Eclipse, as well as the Western Mechatronics team 2088B. They are, again, the all-girls team coming for from the girl-powered initiative. Now we got Aviation Nerds getting about 3 tri-balls left. 33 seconds left in the matchup as, again, Aviation Nerds now rocking it, getting those tri-balls in the net. And now, again, collisions happening on the barricade. That is one of those things, Cabot, that we see on the design, making sure they can get over that barricade efficiently.
Some of those middle barrier collisions can be pretty tragic, but so far everyone's playing nice and clean. That's what I like to see.
We've got 10 seconds now in the matchup as we now head over. We're going to see bots get elevated. This is a great way to kick things off here at Robot Rodeo. Elevation from Eclipse, and we have elevation from the Aviation Nerds. Wow, what a matchup here to kick things off at Robot Rodeo.
2088B had a pretty close, pretty good attempt at parking on that middle barrier there. For a second it looked like they were up, but in the last second that center of gravity just threw them off. Those rollers on the front end kind of made them front heavy, and they did end up what looks like back on the tile. But if it's close enough, we know that our head referee Alex will do a paper test to make sure that that robot indeed is not elevated. It'd be pretty cool if it was, though.
So we also have, look at that payload right now from the Red Alliance. There's a whole bunch of tri-balls that we can see under the net. That again was from the Red Alliance, OKI pull up, and Eclipse. Eclipse ranks second right now currently in this tournament, as we now see, like, that was some great communication. Again, when you have 2 teams coming from the same organization, you can have an opportunity to work up some of those strategies, and that's what I think we saw on the field, Cabot.
Excellent collaboration, excellent teamwork, and I mentioned earlier that Aviation Nerds did get stuck on that middle barrier, lost some precious time. You can definitely tell it in the goals between the number of tri-balls scored under the red goal and under the blue goal. Once you're stuck on that barrier, you're not scoring, you're not playing defense, you are down 1 man and it's 2v1, and even though it was only a few seconds, those seconds matter.
You can see right now our referees and our scorekeepers just making sure that we are, accurately measured in terms of our scores. It looks like we have maybe a final score as well. But Cabot, walk us through, like, you were just talking about the barrier before. What have you seen in designs that kind of prevent any hang up on that barrier?
Yes, we definitely saw lots of robots getting hung up on that barrier. Just honestly, just not being able to make it over that barrier in the early season. As the season went on, teams started adding traction type wheels. If you look at 2088B over there, you'll notice on the 4 corners of the robot, you've got the Omni wheels that allow them to navigate that field in any direction they want to. But then in the center of that drive base, you see those 4 traction wheels. And that allows them to get the grip on that barrier and get them propelled all the way over that middle barrier. And that has been kind of the design that a lot of robots have gone to towards the end of the season. you'll lose a little bit of mobility with those traction wheels in the center like that, but that's much better than losing all your mobility by getting stuck in the middle barrier, don't you think, Justin?
No, yeah, absolutely. And so we're seeing again throughout this entire season, for those people who have never seen a VEX competition before, this has been almost a year of design, tinkering, prototyping just to make sure, and even just the decision to put those types of wheels onto a robot as this just ensures that robots don't stay stagnant on the arena.
Another really cool design choice that I've seen a lot this year to prevent getting stuck on that barrier is the sleds that the students are adding on the front and the back of their robot. A triangular shaped sled that allows them to glide up and over that barrier, whether you're in the alley trying to get out across the short barriers or you're on one offensive zone trying to get over the other offensive zone. Design choices like sleds, like you'll see on the front of 51777H, and then the traction wheels on 2088B, those make all the difference in the world. When seconds count, those design choices matter.
I believe we have a final score coming from Q18. Let's throw up the scores for qualification 18. Ow, great job by our Red Alliance. We saw that communication and teamwork from our two teams from Calgary. Okay, I pull up an Eclipse, taking a score of 129 against the Aviation Nerds and Western Mechatronics 87. And again, that was great communication, absolutely taking advantage of those open areas that they found on the match and putting those tri-balls where they needed to go.
210Z holding on to that lead. They maintain their first place ranking. They are still undefeated. Great job.
We are now heading over to our skills arena here as 210T Titan are now going to take on the skills arena. So, Cabot, walk us through what our skills challenge is going to be.
So in the skills challenge, these teams have 6 total tries to score as much as they can by themselves on the field. 3 of those attempts will be driver control, where the driver of the team is completely in charge of everything that happens with that robot. And 3 attempts are purely autonomous. These are pre-programmed, pre-coded routines. Every place that they drive, every tri-bot that they contact has been planned and programmed into that robot. So we'll see what 210T is going to show us, whether it be a driver control run or an autonomous run.
So as you can see here, Titan is now getting ready to go. All the tri-balls first position on the blue side. The goal here is to get those tri-balls on the red side. Do you have any tips that you've seen so far from Cabot for getting those tri-balls in on the red side for a skills competition?
Well, I don't know if they're the ones with the kicker, but there's definitely a kicker here today. I heard it going, and that'll be the fastest way to get those tri-balls across. My biggest tip for these teams, though, is that they've got to run both their autonomous runs and their driver control runs. We have not seen a single team do both yet. And it's the combination of that autonomous run and the driver skills run that gives them a combined score for their rankings.
As you mentioned that, this is actually going to be a programmed run, so this is an autonomous run. They are not even going to touch the controller. First autonomous run here in the skills competition. It looks like Titan's ready to go. I think our referee's going to, I just got to wait for the thumbs up from our referee to run this. I believe, I think they're, again, and when it comes to an autonomous, even just the slightest incorrect movement, oh, there they go, could put them out of whack. And right now we see this. This is an autonomous program. Titan right now using that kicker, teeing off and just putting those tri-balls over there on the other side.
When you hear that thump, thump, thump coming off of a robot like that, you know that you're about to see a new high score for autonomous, because that's the quickest way to get those tri-balls across. Every tri-ball that goes across that middle barrier is at least 2 points for that team. That's a lot of points, Justin.
Not only that, we're seeing a very systematic machine program. Again, this is not done by driver control. Great maneuver there right now by Titan as they now start scooping up. Oh, now look at that cluster of tri-balls, taking them all in. Nice job in that skill, pushing them all in. I couldn't even count the payload on that one, Cabot.
And Justin, that was pre-programmed to do all of that. You just can't miss with the kicker in skills.
Yeah, that's been a very, a phenomenal strategy right now. Titan finished with it autonomous. We have to give them credit. That is an autonomous program, no driver involved in that. They did that in about less than a minute, and that is just phenomenal engineering coming from Titan.
Phenomenal programming. Talking about credit, the scorekeepers and the referees are definitely given credit for that. Every tri-ball that they move from outside of that goal into the goal on that red offensive side of the field, goes from 2 points to 5 points. So it's very important that the teams get those tri-balls under that goal. It's 3 additional points per tri-ball. That's going to be a lot of points.
I'm being told right now by the booth that we are now headed over to the Ag Tech Arena as we now get set for another skills competition. This is 2088 headed out to the arena. This is a team from Western Mechatronics here in Calgary.
And on our ag field, the names of everything changes. So we are now looking at red and blue hay bales. And the object of this challenge is to sort the red hay bales into the red barn and the blue hay bales into the blue barn. You got to get the crops out of the field and under protection, and that's what 2088S is about to show us. This is their first attempt. Generally, the first attempt is a little bit of a different feel for the teams, so first attempts have not been their highest scores, but they get 3 total today. Let's see what 2088 shows us.
All right, 2088S, that is straightest on the field, about to go on here, and it looks like our referee Alex about to score this one. Again, these hay bales have been placed randomly in our turf field. Let's get this matchup going. Driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. The drive under the way, this is straightest, and they're now gonna get those tri-balls underneath. Oh man, I gotta change that. It is hay bales. This is a very weird switch when we go from game to game here. Again, this is our agricultural tech challenge, showing how robotics can be found in agriculture. And again, imagine putting this on a tractor or a combine, just putting a driver control and just doing this by remote control, Cabot.
Absolutely, very, very important to know how to adapt. As hard as it has been for us to adapt, even the names of these elements on this particular ag tech challenge, can you imagine, Justin, how hard it is for the students to adapt from the over-under challenge on a very smooth field to this AstroTurf pasture? Everything's going to feel different. The way that the robot moves, the way that the hay bales react to their machine, everything's a little bit different, but that is the nature of ag. You got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to make your equipment work for the job that you got to get done.
As we see right now, the time to beat again for the Jackson team. Minute 43, we can see Stratus now trying to get those red hay bales under the net. We have a minute 7 so far, our unofficial time. We have to remember in this game, though, that we have 5-second penalties, just like out there in the chuck wagon races that you'll see possibly out there at the grandstand. We have 5-second penalties for any team that takes a hay bale out of the pasture, or 5 seconds for putting an incorrect color in the net. So we're seeing that Stratus is doing their best to put their hay bales in the right place, and part of that is the randomness, Cabot. We have no idea where the hay bales are, and so anytime that we have the arena set up, we have no idea where they are, and teams have to adapt on the fly for making up that pathway.
That's right. Our referees have been very careful to make sure that the hay bales are on the pasture in a very random order, a very random pattern, and it is up to the teams to not only sort, but move the hay bales to the proper barn. And it looks like the strategy they're following is to complete one color and then to go after the other color. It's way more difficult than you would think on this AstroTurf, and with the challenge of how everything feels, even the way that the hay bales they're intaking into the robot is different than what you're going to see on the other field. And it looks like we might have lost a motor or something, because that robot was moving in a way that it shouldn't have been. Let's see if they recover.
You know, Stratus has had issues over right now this tournament so far, where a motor or cartridge comes up. They got to head back to the pits and make sure that they get that repaired, because I think we've seen that motor and cartridge over the competition just come out of that robot, and as you can see right now, puts the robot in a very precarious position already now in the barn. I don't think you would like it if in your barn then a robot just goes right in there.
Absolutely not. I want my equipment doing exactly what I tell it to do. And but equipment breakdown is part of farm life, part of real life, part of ag life. And you just have to adjust. You have to adapt. If your equipment's not doing what it's supposed to, then you do. You take it to the shop and you get it working the way it's supposed to work. These students are doing a great job with this challenge. I know it feels different out there. If you watch the level of control that the students have over the intaking of the tri-balls on the Ag Tech Challenge is different than what we're seeing on the over-under field. And that's got to be because their environment has changed, the circumstances have changed, but they're stepping up and meeting that challenge.
They are being very resilient on the field. Right now we have a time. I'm going to assume that our unofficial timer has stopped accidentally, so we're going to assume that they've now hit past 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Right now, again, this is one of the few times that we had the game altered. I don't know, maybe the only time that we're now live streaming an alteration of the over-under game, and that includes the terrain, and that includes making sure that the hay bales are going into the correct area. 4 minutes and 19 seconds now, our unofficial timer. They are trying their best, and you got to give them credit that they are still attempting this particular thing, especially with, as you're seeing right now on the screen, that nasty corner that they have, just getting those hay bales stuck up on that corner.
But Justin, that's one of the things I love about Vex Robotics is that the skills that they learn in one arena, literally, can be transferred into another arena, another area of tech and another area of innovation and education. The skills that they learned and what they can do in this game translates beautifully into so many other areas. And even though the Ag Tech Challenge is still a game, the skills learned in Vex Robotics, the programming, the communication, the teamwork, the building skills, the driving skills, all of that translates. And these students are proving it to us today that they can adjust.
Could you imagine right now downstairs on that first floor, maybe there's some potential employers downstairs just watching right now that, good action here, and they're like, you know what? In the future, I think I can give this guy a job.
Absolutely. Some of these kids are workforce ready right now based on what I'm seeing. They know things that, many students wait until college to learn. And what I love about this is that they are learning this in a context that to them is fun. It's all fun for them. It's not educational, even though it is. It's just fun for them. And it's so much more inspiring and so much easier to make progress in an environment when they think they're just having fun.
We have now, again, an unofficial time of 6 minutes. We're approaching the 6-minute mark here at the Ag Tech Challenge. They are still putting their effort. They're going to say, you know what? We're going to keep finishing this. We're going to end this thing, and we are going to clean up this field, Cabot.
Justin, it doesn't matter how long the day is. When we've got hay to bale and hay to put up, if it takes all day, it takes all day. You don't stop until the job is done.
Yeah, and they're still working hard as they're now driving. They are still 6 minutes, 24 seconds in. And, some teams we've seen already said, you know what, we're done. But it looks to be, and I don't know if they're going to do that yet, Stratus is still going for it. They're still hanging in there in this 6 minute, 36 second right now run. They're definitely going to have to head back to the pits, Cabot, and make sure that robot is repaired potentially for another run.
Yes, this is definitely longer than a typical over-under match. Typically, we're not running our drive motors for 7 minutes at a time. This is what they're having to do to complete this challenge, though. Love the tenacity, but they're definitely going to want to be sure they give their machinery time to cool off, these motors time to recover, and just to be ready for their next challenge.
Yeah, that is a lot of strain. As you mentioned, a typical over-under match is 2 minutes long, even shorter in skills. And when you're running an entire round there longer than 7 minutes, that is going to put a lot of strain on the robot. We'll see what Stratus does when they head back to the pits, because they're going to have to head back with some coolant and just make sure that those motors are fine. We've got an unofficial time of 7 minutes and 16 seconds. We'll get the official time again, potential time penalties. Our referee Alex just going to tabulate that in a few moments. Cabot, wow, they made a great attempt there in our first round here at Robot Rodeo.
From here, it looks like I'm seeing at least one penalty with a blue hay bale in the red barn. Definitely don't want to mix up your Bermuda and your mixed grass, right? So we'll see what their score ends up being with that penalty in there.
Imagine if the challenge had changed to autonomous. That would be a very interesting thing. Now that would be a lot more difficult to code if you think about it, because then you'd need at least the color sensor to be able to figure out where everything goes.
Absolutely. With the randomized nature of the hay bales being scattered through the pasture the way they are for this Ag Tech Challenge, you absolutely could not accomplish this without color sensors. But you know what? Our kids know how to use color sensors, so it is not a problem.
We have an official time, I believe, of 7 minutes and 38 seconds coming from our referee, Alex. And so now this is their first attempt. They're finally on the scoreboard. If we can throw up now our current leaderboard for Ag Tech just real quickly before we head on to our next qualification match. We can see right now, once again, it is the Jackson team still in the lead at 2775V, minute 43 after 2 attempts, and you know Jackson is going to try to beat their own time to maintain that lead.
They do have one more attempt, and we'll see what they do to try to either increase that lead or, what's going to be more interesting is to see what teams 2 through 10 try to do to catch up, because that is the money game. And so I know they're all hungry for that money to buy more motors, more sensors, and more wheels to go on their robots.
We are now heading over to our main field now as we now get set for qualification match 19 on that main field. And as we get set up, let's introduce our teams for qualification 19 on the Red Alliance. We've got 210F, OKI Pull Up, and 5177H, Aviation Nerds. They competed in the last match, but this time they are now working together. For the Blue Alliance, we've got 2088X, Loaf of Bread, and 1010 and 10-ton Robotics. We've got all this representation. 2 teams coming from Calgary, Aviation Nerds coming from Redmond, Washington, and 10-ton Robotics coming from West Vancouver, British Columbia.
1 team from Washington and 3 from Canada.
Final adjustments being made. You can hear the pneumatics being pumped up with the air pumps. And Cabot, walk us through, like, a lot of teams have been, as you move through certain seasons, there's a lot of teams that are like, you know what, we got to start incorporating those pneumatics. Tell us about, like, the difference that pneumatics have made now into some of these bots.
Yeah, so each team is allowed 8 motors on their robot, and once those motors are allocated, a very popular option for a lot of teams is to have a 6-motor drive. That only leaves 2 motors to operate your other functions, and with a 6-motor drive, that does allow you the speed and the strength that a lot of these teams like to have to push other robots around on the field. But with only 2 motors left, it limits your ability to play the other parts of the game, and so you'll see a lot of these teams using their pneumatics to operate things like their wings that'll expand out to push multiple tri-balls at one time. They'll use their pneumatics to deploy their elevation mechanisms, whether it be a pull-up or a earlier in the season we saw some winch-style elevations, but those pneumatics give you extra options, and so the majority of the teams that you're going to see out there are utilizing those pneumatics to air activate certain mechanisms.
And pneumatic systems, they don't come cheap. So not only do teams have to, manage to potentially fundraise or find ways to purchase that pneumatic system, they have to learn how to use an air compressed pneumatic system, before they head into the matchup, when they start translating from a regular bot without the pneumatics moving into something new.
Absolutely, and even understanding how to wire your pneumatics and quality control. I mean, pneumatics leak can ruin a game for you. Anything from a fitting to a tube that isn't doing what it's supposed to, and there goes your ability to plow tri-balls, or possibly your ability to hang at the end of your match. So it's really important that in between matches they do that maintenance. They do those checks, tighten the screws, check your fittings, make sure your tubes are where they're supposed to be, nothing's gotten knocked loose. And as you watch this game, you're about to see why that is so important, because these robots and these drivers, they don't take it easy on one another.
All right, looks like our competitors are at the ready. Alex is just going to give me the thumbs up, ready to go. All right, let's do this. Autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. Again, if you're just joining us, this is 15 seconds of autonomous where the robot is doing this all by themselves. The drivers don't even have to hold on the controller, as we can see now that the robots are heading over on that red side and are now making sure that they do, in fact, score a couple over to the other side. Again, it's 2 points on the field of their respective side, 5 points for under the net. And again, we should also mention that the colored tri-balls, those ones are only scored for the actual colored team. So regardless if it's under the red net or the blue net, those tri-balls score only for the color of that tri-ball.
You'll notice that every robot is wearing a red or a blue license plate. The 2 robots with the red license plates are in an alliance together. They were randomly paired. And the 2 robots wearing the blue license plates are in an alliance together. And so red is going to try to outscore blue, and blue is going to try to outscore red in this match.
We have to also remember from where they are positioned, the alliances are actually opposed to where they are currently scoring. So you'll notice that the blue alliance is actually found on the left side of the field, and the red alliance is actually found on the blue side of the field, but their nets are found on the opposite side. So they're trying to get all of theirs away from, I believe, is that right, Kabo, right? Or am I the other way?
They're going to start off with 22 tri-balls on each side, and the goal is to get those tri-balls into the
I'm going to interrupt you for a
field.
second. I'll get you in the next moment in a second. We'll get the driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. Sorry, continue.
Absolutely. So their goal is to get their tri-balls into their robot, onto the field, and under their own goal. But what's in their way? What's in their way is a barrier that they're going to have to go over or under, and 3 other robots trying to do the same thing.
As we get the matchup going right now, we can see right now we've got, that is OKI pull up, trying to get across to the other side. They've grabbed the tri-ball, going to go through the alleyway on the far side of the field. It looks to be 2088X, that is Loaf of Bread, now is trying to get that tri-ball on the other side. And we now have 5177H, Aviation Nerds will go through the red alleyway. Keeping up with them is now OKI pull up, feeding their robot and bringing it over to the other side. We've now got a time of 1 minute, 5 seconds left as the Blue Alliance starting to keep pace here with autonomous bonus. That is on the Blue Alliance. 10-ton Robotics, who also currently has the number 2 spot, and Loaf of Bread looking to try to ride that tail and make sure that they get some points in this matchup. 49 seconds left in the match as we now see 10-ton Robotics now going under the alleyway. Nice defense coming from OKI pull up. That was a payload of 4 being stopped by OKI pull up, Kabo. That was amazing.
Got a little bit of a trapping over there close to the blue elevation bar, but our ref was right on top of that.
We heard the sound there. That's 30 seconds left, and that means that robots cannot go on their opposing colors elevation bar or anywhere near that. As we now see, once again, the Aviation Nerds will try to go over the barricade. Will then start getting fed and then start putting the tri-balls on the other side. Nice block being made also by OKI pull up as they now prevent 10-ton Robotics. They are trying to maintain that lead as we now head into 9 seconds. We'll see if we see an elevation right now. Maybe all 4 bots will elevate. We got 1, we got 2, and we got 1 robot doing donuts just cuz. And that is time. What a match here on qualification number 19.
Always nice to end the match with 2 robots elevated. I'd love to see 4, but 2 is always good. The robot that is elevated higher will get more points, but from this angle, it looks like these 2 robots may be in the same elevation tier. We'll let head referee Alex determine for us.
We are going to head right away to our Ag Tech Challenge, folks, as we now see, I believe, in the Ag Tech Challenge 210Z, I believe that is Eclipse right now, heading over to the Ag Tech Challenge.
Team 210Z, first place in our match rankings. Let's see if they can bump themselves up to first place in the Ag Tech Challenge. The time to beat is 1 minute 43 seconds. It's a pretty tight time, but 210Z is not daunted at all. They're an excellent team, great driver, excellent robot. Let's see what they can show us in this challenge.
All right, this is Eclipse second attempt. I believe they're ready to go. I think our referee's going to give me the thumbs up to make sure we're ready to do this. I believe we're ready.
Remember, these robots were not designed to drive on this turf or to do this particular challenge, but that doesn't mean that these teams aren't going to be able to rise up and meet this challenge. $10,000 on the line with this challenge.
All right, let's do this. Driver control in 3, 2.
I think they're still placing the robots.
Nope, sorry. Oh, thanks for holding that. Thank you,
No
Kubo. I
problem.
didn't see that. They're just making sure. I guess Eclipse is making sure that they're positioned in a proper way right now to grab those hay bales and put them in the right position.
Absolutely. Strategy matters as much as driving ability, and that matters as much as the ability of the robot. So knowing where to put your equipment and making sure that it's in the optimal place is, even if it's a matter of 1 second, 1 second could be the difference between first and second place. And so 210Z is definitely taking their time, making sure their robots are, their motors are nice and cool, and they're going to make sure that they're placing their robot in just the right position to be able to start this challenge as soon as the referee starts this challenge for
You
him.
just mentioned that. You couldn't see that on the screen, but they took their robot out to do some final prep work, and they had an upside down air canister to condense the gas and cool down the motors. For those people who are in VEX, that is a common strategy that we see. There's a lot of used up air canisters just to cool down the motors.
Yes, coaches know very well that those canisters, as much as we'd like to see teams dusting our shelves with that, no, they're going to use that to cool their motors off.
Have you ever, cooled your finger accidentally with a...
I don't participate in anything that has to do with robot build or robot maintenance, and so I'm happy to just supply them their equipment and let them do their thing.
I've personally felt that. It was not fun. Anyway, we head now to Eclipse. We're now ready for the matchup. It looks like our referee just making sure that Eclipse is ready to go. Yeah, I give the countdown. Here we go. Eclipse ready to go. Driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. Now again, this was a very random set, and then their second attempt. You do notice that when they were putting in the hay bales, it looks to be that the blue ones are already pretty clustered in that one region there.
This is a really lucky randomization for 210Z. It definitely already saw that the red and the blues were kind of started off on somewhat already separated, and so if they are going to top their last score, this would be the drive this would be the run that I could see them accomplishing that in.
We currently have an unofficial time of 38 seconds, as we can see in the AgTech Challenge. That is, again, Eclipse heading over, and you can see, taking advantage of that random placement. We had no idea where those hay bales were going to go, and they are now using the wings, following very similar strategy to what we see from Jackson, Cabot.
Definitely. There's definitely been a winning strategy early on in our AgTech Challenge runs. It seemed like the students were just grabbing what was closest and whatever hay bale was closest and pushing it into whatever barn it needed to go into. The strategy has definitely evolved over the last couple of days, and we're seeing it in play now.
And we have to remember that this is a way different terrain, way different game from over-under, and teams have to make sure that they can adapt between the over-under game and our AgTech Challenge, and that is a lot of stress, I would assume, for some of these teams to make sure that the robots are good in both arenas.
Absolutely. Between the different turf and the way that the tripods feel and move on this pasture, you're definitely seeing that the teams are having to adjust on the fly, but that's what these students are trained to do. They do it on the match field in the over-under game, and we're watching them do it on the AgTech field in the AgTech Challenge.
We now have an unofficial time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds, as they are still putting away those hay bales, and they've got a few more left. They're going to just round out that corner and finish it off, it looks to be. They're still following the rules of over-under, holding one bale at a time, and they're going to end the time there. Great run by Eclipse.
Absolutely. Not quite fast enough to beat the time to beat, but not out of the money for sure. There's money in several places, in several different rankings, and this might be a time that brings home a little bit of money for them.
We have a final time officially from our referee, 2 minutes and 15 seconds for the second attempt. Definitely better than what they had before.
Nice clean run. It looks like all the red hay bales made it into the red barn and all the blue hay bales made it into the blue barn. I like to see that. And it sounds like we are going to welcome some guests onto the field. All right, joining us on the field, at the desk right now, is our girl power team from right here in Calgary.
Oh. Sorry, we're going to just cut through here.
2088B, welcome to the desk.
We've got our team from Western Mechatronics here. Folks, introduce yourselves. We've got 4 of you up here. Introduce yourselves.
My name is Sarah. I'm the main driver and the main coder.
I'm Grenor. I'm main builder and I help game strategize.
I'm Emma and I'm also main builder.
I'm Allison and I joined from 101. I'm exploring all roles, but I mainly do coding.
So I want to, again, I keep mentioning out there, you are the only all-girls team, and I believe a middle school team as well representing Calgary. How does it feel to be right now here at Robot Rodeo so far?
So far, it feels pretty good. I feel like we have a lot of new experiences today and yesterday, and so far we're getting a lot of encouragement, and we're just trying our best.
Now, when you came through inspection, you still had a few things left to do on your robot. How long have you been working on this robot?
We have been working on this robot for about a month now. We just joined this tournament in June 18th, so yeah.
Well, wonderful job for having signed up a little bit later than some of the other teams. You guys have built a very solid drive base. I see you whipping yourselves in and out of those alleys and over those barriers with ease.
So I gotta ask now, who is the youngest here in this team? How old are you right now, if I may ask?
I'm 12.
You're 12 years old, and the reason I bring this is that, how did you get started? I'm assuming this is one of your first tournaments here. How did you get started with robotics?
I started from 101, which is like the introductory program. So yeah.
Oh, at Western Mechatronics. And are you going to continue with the program maybe? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm assuming that this is for all four of you. Are you enjoying right now being a part of this Western Mechatronics and just enjoying, being part of the club and, building these robots? What is your one favorite thing right now of being in this club? We'll take it from anybody. What is your one favorite thing of being in part of this club?
Definitely the people here. They're all very nice and encouraging.
And then I'm assuming they've been encouraging you to, because again, is this your first spot that you've made?
In 101, you get to build your first bot, and you get to experiment with it and do these like scrimmages, so you can test like your skills and stuff. But for us, Gernor, me, and Emma, this has maybe been like the third, second bot that we built because we just became a team recently. Gernor and me have been a team since provincials though, and we've definitely gotten to like see each other and build together and see what we can both do.
Well, I love to see an all-girl powered team. Are you going to stay together for the next season, the high-stakes season?
I think definitely yes, because it's like after a long time we finally found a team that I think we're gonna stay with. So yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your roles on the team?
So my role is main builder. So basically, I built the drivetrain along with Gernor. Like we had a collaborative, kind of build, I guess. And overall, I think it's going okay, but we definitely need a lot of improvements, such as like bearings. But for now, I think we're managing pretty well.
But I think we have to remember that you are an early team, and a lot of the teams that you are competing right now are, veteran players of this game. So I know it can be potentially intimidating out there. How are you guys just handling out just being out there competing with some of the toughest competition so far?
What is your role on the team?
Since I joined late from 101, I mainly brought some code to our team. So, but like, yeah, that's about it.
So you're the programmer.
Yeah.
Love it. What is your role?
I'm the main driver and the main coder. Since Allison just joined us from 101, I had to pick up coding and maybe like learn from the basics. And yeah, I'm also the main driver. Me and Gernor make up game strategy, and we just play together and do teamwork.
I think it's already mentioned, but I help build, so I help build the drivetrain, and originally we had a hang, so I help build that too, and then me and Sarah game strategize.
Now I gotta ask, before we head over to Q19, I know that you've taken the Western Mechatronics club name. Do you have any ideas for a potential new name? Because I know that you've seen some of the teams. Do you have a new name coming up?
Our team name that we originally came up with was Be Humble because of how ironic it is that we will always be at the bottom, yet our name is to be humble.
All right. Well, be humble. I do feel like that's what I'm going to call you there on the field. Should I call you that now on the field from this point onward?
Maybe.
I'm glad we had this interview. Should we call you that? 2088B from this point onward, be humble. We're going to bring them out onto the field now so that we get an opportunity to change that name. Because I'm assuming you didn't have an opportunity to pick your name yet, but now you're going to keep that name, right? Well, don't change the name now because now we're going to call you that out in the field. 2088B is now Be Humble moving forward. All right, thanks very much, ladies, for your time here at the desk. We are going to send it over right now to Q19 as we get set for that next qualification match.
Thank you, ladies. Looks like we have scores from qualification match 19.
Oh, wow. What a score from Q19. And I'm assuming that's why we had some time to take and make sure that everything was accurately scored. That is a score of 110 to 108. What a match in Q19.
Absolutely. When the score is that tight, your field officials are going to make a second count, if not a third count, to be sure that everyone gets proper credit for what they earned.
All right, let's do this. We're heading in now to the autonomous of Q20. Autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. We'll introduce our teams in a few moments, but right now we see 2775V. That is Jackson right now getting that blue tri-ball on the other side. And we also have Stratus who are coming around and getting that red tri-ball in. Remember, we're going to get points for kicking the tri-ball out of the corner, putting the colored tri-ball into the net, as well as touching the elevation bar. And we'll see what the referees have to say in that one.
I love that autonomous period because we know that everything those robots are doing was pre-programmed ahead of time. And if they score, it's because they asked the robot to. And if they don't, it's because they didn't ask the robot to do that in their programming.
We have an autonomous bonus and win point for the Blue Alliance. So now we head into driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. For our Red Alliance, we got from Q20, 210, T Titan, and then teaming up with them is 2088S Stratus, both from Calgary. And for the Blue Alliance, 2775B, that's Jackson Robotics from Jackson, Tennessee, and 2088K Killswitch, also from Calgary. As we see the matchup going right away, we now have Jackson getting those tri-balls right now into the net, and we have Stratus trying their best to help and keep up with their sister team 210T Titan, as Titan right away loads and goes right under the alleyway, scoring a payload about 2 tri-balls in that exchange. Titan now look again, free alleyway, and will go through nice little defense coming off a kill switch. We got now pitting happening over there on the other side. Stratus getting getting shoved around by Jackson, saying, "Nuh-uh, you are not going to clog up the alleyway," as now Jackson heading over to the other side. We'll score another tri-ball over that in that net. And then we've got Jackson just with a free alleyway, 2, 3, potentially 4. There they go with it. They're going to bring a payload about 3. Gets one cut up on the corner. Head over there on the other side of the red alleyway. We've got a little bit of a tussle there happening between Titan and Killswitch, as they are now just tangling in the red zone. Titan now will grab another tri-ball, head over to the alleyway. We've got 29 seconds left in the matchup, as now it's looking to be now Jackson again, that free alleyway, and are now getting ready. And it's just finding a way, but nice job from the defense from Stratus, as we now have, it looks to be Jackson scoring that other tri-ball. This is a close matchup, folks. We can see that both scoring areas are getting full with 9 seconds left. This could be an elevation. These are great teams so far. As we now head to the last 4 seconds, we have Jackson with the elevation. We have Titan with the elevation. Oh my goodness, what a matchup here in qualification 20. Cabal, did you see that? I'm sorry, I was just so excited with that. Cabal, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
A little bit curious to see what the referees saw on the field with that D score by 2088S in those last few seconds. Not sure exactly where the Blue Alliance robots were on the field when 2088S was under that goal, but we do know that the robots do have to be, the opposing alliance must be double zoned in order for the red robot to have been allowed under the goal. It'll be interesting to see what the officials on the field were able to see. But we do have 2 elevations. I always like to see those elevations, possibly in 2 different tiers at this angle.
Yeah, you can see right now Jackson just slightly higher with that chin up, I think, from this position. Titan there, but it's still, again, all those points when it comes to the elevation bar, it's differed based on different tiers and heights of the elevation bar. Cabal, walk us through what those elevation points look like.
Absolutely. So it's between 2 and 3 inches that they have. Every 2 to 3 inches is a different elevation tier, starting with A. All you have to do to accomplish A tier elevation is to be off of the tile. It can be paper thin, razor thin. As long as you are off of the tile, you can earn an elevation A tier, all the way up to J tier, which is above the very top of that red vertical pole. And that you might wonder, how is it possible for a robot to be completely above that top of that pole? Well, because their could be possible buddy hangs where one robot lifts another robot up above that tier. We were hoping to see some of those this year. I didn't see any, but I wonder if there were some out there in the Vex world. What we've got here, though, it looks like red is definitely A, possibly B, and I would, based on what I can tell, I would think that 2775B blue is at a C tier, but that's for the referees to make the call.
As we now wait for the score from this matchup, we are now sending it over to 10-ton Robotics at the Skills Arena, and they're getting right away. If we can cut right now to our Skills Arena, as they're now using an autonomous period. This is all programmed, and can you hear that? They are now kicking back those tri-balls over to the other side, Cabot.
You can tell from this live stream that those balls are just flying over from where they're loading onto the red offensive zone. Nothing is scored unless it's on that side of the field, so it's really important that not only do they get those tri-balls under the goal, as you see they are doing, but over that middle barrier. Everything on the red side counts, nothing on the blue side counts.
And we want to clarify here again, these teams are doing this without the driver doing it. They have programmed this and fine-tuned it so that they can do the job of scoring those tri-balls into the net.
Justin, I don't think I could drive that well, let alone program something to do that well. So super impressive run coming from 1010.
And that is going to end the autonomous period here. But we have to remember that the combined score of autonomous and driver control is going to make up their final score in the skills division.
We've had two teams run skills this morning. Let's see what the leaderboard is showing us on the skills challenge.
Yeah, let's throw those up right now as we take a look. It is Titan now with a current score of 150 points. Titan now taking the lead over Jackson, who's just shy of 103. And you can tell right now that Jackson's not going to take this, very lightly.
I predicted that there would be movement on the skills board, and there it is with that kicker on that robot, being able to match load those tri-balls as fast as they can. I just don't know that there's another team that can match load that quickly. And that was their autonomous run. Typically, your autonomous runs are not going to score as high as your driver runs. And so when they come back with their driving runs, I don't know if they do another 150 points with their driver at least. I don't know that anyone else will be able to catch up to that. But as you said, Justin, 2775E is not going to take that laying down, so we'll see what they come back with, how they answer. But then again, there's 7 other teams that have not attempted their skills yet, and none of the teams on the boards have attempted both their driver and their autonomous.
We are going to take, I think, a 2-minute break as we get things set up. So we're going to take 2 minutes as we get set up for the Ag Tech Challenge coming up. This is Robot Rodeo here at the Calgary Stampede. Welcome back to Robot Rodeo as we are now getting set for our AgTech Challenge. Headed to the AgTech field as we see, I believe it is Stratus right now heading on there, right? No, it's not Stratus. I apologize. This is 208 Loaf of Bread. Is it Loaf of Bread? What team is this right now? 2088X. He's looking at me like I don't know the team. 2088X is Loaf of Bread, isn't it?
I think that's 2088X.
Yeah. 2088X now will head on to the arena. Now I gotta look at my paper and I was just like, I feel like yeah, it is Loaf of Bread. Don't confuse me. I know it's Loaf of Bread on the field. They're now headed to the AgTech arena to do their AgTech Challenge. Again, this AgTech Challenge, they have randomized. They have no idea where those tri-balls go. Oh, sorry, it's no longer tri-balls, it is hay bales. And now our referee has now spilled them out. It is a completely random scenario. They have no idea where everything goes. You can see our referee has tried to maintain consistency of where everything is planted and then make sure that everything is accurate. You'll notice that our referee will start to push away anything that is near the net because that's kind of too close for them to kind of work with the net, Cabot.
This is definitely more randomized. We get a tougher field to sort and store their hay bales than what we saw 210Z had. So 2088X going in with a bigger challenge, but they are up to it. I know that they are.
All right, they're making the final adjustments. Again, this is Loaf of Bread, and I believe Loaf of Bread was one of the teams that did qualify for the World Championship this year, and so we'll see and they were qualified in the middle school division, and so now they have an opportunity to try to take a run at the money here at the AgTech Challenge.
Looks like our teams are ready, very strategic about where they start their robot and what direction they are going to head in. They're ready for the countdown.
All right, let's do this. Driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. You know, I miss the horn, Cabot. Sometimes we need a horn. We just gotta, you know what? We gotta get a cowbell. We're gonna go downstairs out in the field. We're gonna find ourselves a cowbell. If anybody, by the way, downstairs on the first floor can hear me talking, find me a cowbell, bring it back up here.
Looks like 2088 got a little stuck in the barn there. That happens in the pasture. I've definitely been stuck in the pasture more than one time with that tractor.
And you can see right now with a Loaf of Bread, you do see that they have those wings in play. And so they're using, looks to be a couple motors to play with those wings. And that's going to help them push those hay bales into the right location.
Struggling to intake that. It's got to feel a little bit different on that turf than it does on the regular game tiles.
Matchup still going on here as we can see now. Loaf of Bread. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it from here, but there are some grinding gears. It is one of those things that you don't want to hear off a robot. Grinding gears usually means that there's a mechanism right now, Cabot, that is not working the way that's supposed to.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from here. I'm not sure if it's an intake issue or if it's a drivetrain issue, but definitely crunchy sounds coming off of anything mechanical like that is problematic.
I think it's sounding like the intake, Cabot, as you can see, like as they're now moving those hay bales into their intake, you can hear that clicking starting to make contact, and that's where we're maybe finding some inefficiency possibly with the robot for this challenge.
Doing a great job strategizing and sorting the red hay bales first. You're going to get those nice and secure in their red barn before they attack the blue hay bales. Almost done with that red.
I like that strategy that they did there. Loaf of Bread was just basically, there was one hay bale that was in there, in the robot, and they said, just let's kick it out of the way to make sure that they are, it's not going to affect our drive.
Gotta do what you gotta do to get the hay in the barn.
We see now again, Loaf of Bread trying to now work around here. They've got a time of 2 minutes, 4 seconds. Again, the time to beat at 1:43, so they're here just to ensure that they can do this challenge, and then they'll get another attempt. This is their first attempt, and as we've seen, Cabot, from previous attempts, that their first attempt is never their best one.
No, they definitely need that first run to get used to the terrain. They've got to get a feel for how the tri-balls are moving differently on the pasture, on this turf that it's just going to be different. Their robot's going to move different. They're not going to be able to drive as fast. It's a heavier load for their motors with the friction of the grass. And so this first run is definitely more of a training run almost.
So now we see loaf of bread. It looks to be that almost all the red hay bales have been sorted, and so now they're going to try to do a very similar strategy as we've seen from our top contenders for the money, as they now use the wings to split up and make sure that they can get all of them on the same side, and they sit at a time of 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
And at 3 minutes, it does not look like they are going to be able to beat the first place team at 1 minute and 43 seconds, but there is plenty of money down the line, and that's what they're going after.
All right, as you can see, Loaf of Bread will try to get those hay bales, and we've seen again constantly, Cabot, it's that corner, that nasty corner that is putting those hay bales just stuck, and now you're seeing teams going to have to rewrite their strategy as they try to get around and put it back into the barn.
Anyone who's ever tried to mow it or harvest in the corner of their pasture knows those corners, if they're not properly designed, can be tricky, and we're seeing that here on the Ag Tech field also.
It looks to be on the field right now that Loaf of Bread has a loose motor, and they're going to call it, I think, at this point. I believe they are. Yep, we see our referee now counting the extra hay bales that are out on the field. 5-second penalties for each one of those hay bales, but I think they're going to make sure that the robot is in check for an upcoming competition, because you definitely see that loose motor coming from the back end of the robot.
Definitely more of a load on their motors on that turf, and running for as long as they do. Our typical over-under match is 2 minutes, and they're at 4, so not a bad decision to go ahead and call their run and save those motors.
Yeah, it is, especially when you have a robot just carrying all that weight, even if it's a lightweight. 4 motors pulling up that weight is strenuous on the robot, and sometimes you've got to make a decision as a team to call it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We got an official, sorry, was it 4 minutes 37? We have an official time of 4 minutes and 37 seconds for Loaf of Bread. And so now again, that first attempt is going to finally put them on the scoreboard. Let's take a look at the scoreboard so far for the Ag Tech Challenge with that 4 minutes and 37 seconds. As we now get that up there, 4 minutes and 37 seconds is going to put Loaf of Bread in, I believe, 8th place. I don't think they got that updated just yet, but right now still it is the Jackson team at 1:43, and still we have yet to see them get their 3rd attempt out on the Ag Tech field.
That's going to be fun to watch. At this point, they're probably going to try to beat their time, so that'll be a fun match to watch. But great attempt by 2088X. Great job, great decisions out there, great strategy. That was their first run, so I'm excited to see what they do when they come back for their 2nd attempt.
As we now head over to, I believe we're now headed over to Q21. Let's head over to now match Q21, qualification match number 21. They are just getting everything set up for qualification 21, so we might as well take this break to introduce our teams. For qualification 21, we've got for the Red Alliance 2088B. That is now Western Mechatronics, who now after that interview are now being called Be Humble. They are now calling that their name moving forward. Be Humble in the Red Alliance. Teaming up with them will be Titan 210T. And for the Blue Alliance, 51777H, the Aviation Nerds, ready to go. Teaming up with them is again our leader, one of our leaders there, our number 2 seed. That is 10-Ton Robotics.
10-10 and going to be trying to hold on to their undefeated record. Let's see if our 2 teams from Western Mechatronics, 288B and 210T, will give them their first loss of the tournament.
Looks like our teams are ready, just ensuring and making sure that the goggles are on and at the ready. Again, we want to make sure that their eyes are protected. And again, a lot of safety, Cabot, when it comes to these matches. As much as, this looks like a fun game, we ensure at Vex and the Brett Foundation, ensure that every safety precaution is made for these competitors.
Absolutely. Eyeballs are hard to replace, so we definitely want to be sure that our competitors are protecting their eyeballs during these matches.
We also notice that they'll say that, I don't know if they can see it, there was one team member that is missing goggles. It's hard to make sure that they're okay with that.
Let's get goggles on our drive team member right there on the red.
I was wondering, I'm not the ref, but I'm not a ref, but all right, there we go. Let's do this autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. Matchup underway right now as we see the Aviation Nerds will start moving those tri-balls to the side. Followed to them is 10-Ton Robotics trying to defend that lead that they have on the other side. We've got, again, our new team name, Be Humble, teaming up with Titan. And there goes the sound there. That was 15 seconds of autonomous, meaning the robot does that by themselves. We'll see what our referees have to say. It looks to be that the Blue Alliance has got those tri-balls under the net, Cabo, and I think it's going to help them with their score.
Not only is it important to score your tri-balls under your goal, but just moving it from one offensive zone into the other offensive zone takes 2 points away from your opponents and adds 2 points to you. So even if you can't get it under the goal in this autonomous period, it's really important just to move as many as you can into your goal or into your offensive zone.
So we have Blue winning the autonomous bonus there as we now head into the driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. In our driver control now, you can see 10-ton Robotics will start moving those tri-balls underneath the net. We'll get a payload about 3 on that side. Titan will try to keep up pace. We'll bring that red tri-ball over there. And now we see 10-ton once again cleaning up a house on that other side. We've got a time of 1:32 as Titan will now head over to the loading zone and we'll bring a couple tri-balls once again underneath that red alleyway. We can see a little bit of a collision now between, it looks to be Aviation Nerds and Titan underneath that red alleyway. 10-ton now will also go over up the barricade, and just like that, we'll score a bunch of tri-balls underneath the other side. Titan now will try to go through the alleyway, and it is going to be, once again, the Aviation Nerds just preventing great defense coming from the Aviation Nerds. On the other side, that is Be Humble, our all-girls team, now trying to play defense as they prevent 10-ton from getting over, and nice job on great defense coming from the girls team. They've got it. Nice job, and putting a 10-ton in a position where they cannot score. Great defense as we now head over again. Tight now with the open alleyway, and we now see that we have the team from Redmond, Washington trying their best to prevent those scores from Titan. On the other side, again, just beautiful defense coming from Be Humble as we now see the Aviation Nerds just pushing forward, getting another one there. 30 seconds left in the matchup. Titan now will come over once again. We'll bring over the tri-ball, and it is a very even score there. It looks to be that we have some pretty even tri-ball counts on both sides as we now head to the last 20 seconds of the matchup. And now again, that is Aviation Nerds will score a couple there, and it's just going back and forth as we now head over to the elevation. 10-ton trying to get a payload of 3. Nice defense coming from Be Humble as we now head down to the last 5 seconds. Could we see an elevation there? 3 seconds left. Quick elevation now from, it looks to be, that is the Aviation Nerds. Wow, the only one elevated. Cabo, your thoughts on that matchup there? That was just an intense matchup.
That was some phenomenal defense being played by 2088B on 10-10 Robotics. It's not often that you see a smaller robot like that play so aggressively, but that was the right strategy against 10-10, preventing them multiple times from running down that alley with 3, 4 tri-balls. Just stopped them dead in their alley, refused to let them pass, turned them around, and cost them a lot of points on more than one occasion. Tremendous strategy, tremendous nerve. Love to see that. And 10-10 cannot be happy with how much defense was played on them, but 2088B should be super proud of how phenomenally they performed in that defensive play that they did.
And again, we had a low-scoring bot coming from our newest team name, Be Humble, as they were able to play that great defense right there. And you can also see that, again, because they have that low chassis, that low robot, they are able to potentially put themselves in a position to de-score Blue. So you notice that they were hanging back and looking to find an appropriate time. It didn't look like there was an appropriate time because 10-ton, again, that speed was starting to move in and start just getting over. So again, Be Humble's strategy at this point was just get in the way, stop them from going through the alleyway, and prevent some of those points, which did give, it looks to be Titan on the other side, an opportunity in that open alleyway and score some of those extra points.
Absolutely. When they were not preventing 10-10 from scoring, they were preventing Aviation Nerds from scoring, and if they were not playing defense on one of those 2 robots, they were perched and ready to de-score.
All right, looks like our robots on the field. I think we have a final score being submitted by our reffing committee down there. We're going to see that final submission, and hopefully we get a score thrown up on the board in the next few moments. But man, what a match here in Q21, and it's just, we haven't even gotten to elimination. As you can see right there, you can see again, Be Humble trying their best on that one, but it is the Aviation Nerds and 10-ton Robotics taking that one at a score of 135 to 84.
10-10 remains undefeated.
As we now pull up, can we please pull up our current rankings so far after our last 3 matches? We can see again, For those people who are new to the Vex Robotics competition, these rankings are going to determine which teams get the honor and privilege of picking who their alliance partner is. As we see right now, it is Eclipse and Tenton still. Oh, we actually had a defeat from Tenton Robotics. So right now, the only undefeated team in this league right now is Eclipse with a score at 8-0 against a Tenton with an 8-1. Where was that loss now? I'm trying to remember when that loss. This must have been some point in this, you know, last 3 matches. Must have missed that.
Those top three places are not budging right now. Those teams are going to hang on tight to those spots because those rankings matter. First place ranked team at the end of qualification matches gets to choose who they want to partner with for eliminations. Right now we're still in the qualification matches, and those qualification matches are randomly, you get a random partner, but when we move into elimination matches, the teams get to choose who they partner with. And so it's really important that based on those rankings, they get to select their alliance partner, and they are going to hold on tight to those spots to be sure that they get to choose first.
With that, right now we're going to sit over here, and we've got right now some wonderful guests here. This is 5177H from Rodeo. This is the aviation nerd. All right, so I need to
What are you trying to find out? Yeah, that's probably, the institution was 11, so it's actually 10. No, we all learned that in the week yesterday. We all learned that in the week Scouring through the blog, that's true.
set for that upcoming matchup.
Good job, guys. Okay, good. I like that. All right, we are getting ready to start qualification match number 22 here on the over-under field. Looks like on Red Alliance we have 210F and 2088S. On the Blue Alliance we have 2088X and 2775V.
All right, it is OKI Pull Up and Stratus teaming up, and we have Loaf of Bread and Jackson Area Robotics also there wearing the hard hats. They're fully protected. Always thinking about safety. That's Jackson, Tennessee.
Eye and head protection, super important.
And I just want to mention, again, I would like to think they're in costume, but if you ever get an opportunity to head to the world stage, some of the costumes and some of the booths that you see out there are just absolutely extraordinary.
Very common for teams to come to these events with their brand, and for Jackson Air Robotics, that's the yellow hard hat, the lab coat, and of course for every single team, goggles. But I love to see some of the different costumes. I even love to see the teams in their matching hoodies and jumpsuits and tracksuits. That's always a lot of fun at Worlds.
I think in the season that it was, emceeing down at Worlds, I remember one team who had a whole bunch of just chicken outfits, and that was just, oh no, it was ducks. It was a whole bunch of ducks that were currently out there, and it was just, it's kind of the community that we have here at VEX. It's very welcoming, it's just very unique, it is different, and it is just an opportunity for kids to just be who they want to be out here on the field.
Absolutely, love seeing those personalities come out. Looks like our teams are just about ready. We're about to get the thumbs up from our head referee, Alex.
All right, let's do this. Autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. That's awkward. Okay, that's not my fault. I wanted to know that. I don't have a button. Shall we try again? Thank you. Autonomous in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, thank goodness. You know, I get a little bit of a heart attack when the robot doesn't start moving, and then it's just like, I think there's like a PTSD when the robots don't start moving out there on the field. We now have 5 seconds left in our autonomous, as we see now the Jackson team trying to get those tri-balls in. Again, these matches are happening autonomously. They are doing that without any driver control. It looks to be some interesting things happening.
Definitely got some rulings the ref is going to have to make on this, but saw several robots in action, but it looked like a blue robot got stuck on the short barrier and probably wasn't able to finish their autonomous.
We've got a blue win autonomous bonus, but no win points given on that one, as we now head into driver control in 3, 2, 1, go. We got a minute 45 on the clock as we now see our Blue Alliance member. That's Loaf of Bread trying to get a little bit of momentum, moving those tri-balls in the net. And we also now have Jackson Area bringing a payload 3 over the barricade, and we'll get a few more tri-balls under the net. On the other side, we've got OKI Pull Up working their way through the net, getting those to the other side. Loading up will now be Jackson. They're choosing to go over the barricade this time. We've got a problem here. Stratus now hung up on the corner, and it looks to be that tri-ball and hung up at the corner is a huge problem. This is a 2-on-1 advantage for our Blue Alliance again of Loaf of Bread and Jackson Area Robotics. Here they go now. They're going to try to avoid any contact with Stratus as it now 2-on-1 advantage. Loaf of Bread and Jackson Area. Jackson taking over the barricade in that center part of the region. Right now, OKI Pull Up will now head to load. We'll try to head in the barricade. They're choosing to try to score points and keep up a pace right now, but nice defense coming from Jackson. Nice little nudge. Whoa, that was an interesting maneuver. Loaf of Bread says, oh my gosh, what a D-score by Stratus. I don't know if that was a good idea right now by Loaf of Bread. That gave the opportunity to D-score, and that was a whole bunch of tri-balls taken out of that exchange as we now head over to 32 seconds left in the match. Right now, Jackson is going to have to try to keep pace. They're now heading over to the barricade. Once again, we'll score that tri-ball into the net. 25 seconds left to go as we now have OKI Pull Up ready to go back into loading, and that was an opportunity right now. I don't know if Loaf of Bread wanted to do that. That might have been an accident, giving the opportunity to Stratus right away to D-score. 12 seconds left in the matchup as we now see more scoring happen right away now. Another D-score. We're going to have to check if that was legal because right away Jackson moved out of there. Oh man, we are now coming down to it. No one's going to elevate Cabot. Oh my goodness. Cabot, I know you're a ref here, and you know, a ref first and foremost, walk us through that matchup because there was some shenanigans, I think, going through that one.
There was so much going on in that match, and a minute 45 doesn't sound like it's that long, but obviously it's long enough to do a lot of damage. Blue Alliance probably thought they had it in the bag when 2088 was stuck in that corner. They weren't able to move, they weren't able to break out of that barrier, but when 2088X gave them that bump, they were able to come out, and the first thing that they did was to unleash on their sister team's alliance. Went directly under that goal and D-scored multiple times. So you can never take for granted that you've got a match in the bag. They did end up stuck under that goal once the Blue Alliance was no longer double zoned, and that meant that they could no longer D-score any tri-balls. Kind of kept them stuck under the goal, which is an illegal position to be in unless your opposing alliance is double zoned. These are going to be some pretty thick calls that the field officials are going to have to make on this. A lot of action going on there, a lot of rules to factor in. So we'll see what the refs decide on this. A lot to talk through for sure.
While we wait for this match to clean up, again, we have a lot of people who, for the first time, have seeing Vex Robotics, and so we're going to take some time right now to send it over to the over-under game rules for the 2023-2024 game. That is over-under. We'll take a look and see how this game is played.
Looks like we have a score for this match. A lot of deliberation between the field officials and the team, so it'll be interesting to see what the field officials' conclusions are.
All right, we're going to send it over now to our driver control here on skills. And so again, in our skills competition here, again, teams are going to be doing the over-under talents by themselves. I'm being told by now of a referee, and this is an interesting thing, Kabo. They have a choice, they have to do an autonomous or a driver control, but they're being told that they're going to do their autonomous for the driver control.
So they're doing another autonomous run here?
But no, they're doing a driver control.
Oh,
They have chosen to do their autonomous for their driver control, which is a very interesting strategy. This is unprecedented right now, as Tenton is now loading up the tri-balls and moving it to their, right into the other side.
This is the first time that a team has chosen to run their autonomous during driver here at the Robot Rodeo, but it's not uncommon for teams who have a really strong programming coding program in their org or on their team to just go ahead and run that very predictable pre-coded routine. You definitely take the human error factor out of it, and if they can score more with their autonomous run, it makes a lot of sense to run their autonomous for both their autonomous run and their driver control run. I've seen it happen before, and it's a great strategy, if you've got a stronger coding program than you do, maybe if your normal driver can't make a tournament, you might just want to go ahead and run your programming. I'm not sure what they're thinking on here, but it's working for them. Look at all those tri-balls under that goal.
You just hit the play button, let the thing go, you know, right?
There you
All
go.
right, I'm gonna just let the robot just do its thing. They have opted to make their driver control, in fact, the autonomous. We'll see what our referees have to say. But again, it is the combined score of autonomous and driver control that is going to make up their score. And so that combined score is going to determine their ranking there in the skills competition. We do have a final score coming from qualification 22 as we pull that one up right now. And we had, wow, that is a 5-point difference between the teams. So I'm going to assume we did see in the field that there were some talks with the referee there. Kabal, walk us through what that matchup happened.
Justin, that is a 1 tri-ball difference in that match. As you can see, when descoring happens legally, it can make all the difference in a match. You saw that 2088S was stuck in that corner, wasn't able to play for the majority of that match, and yet this match was so close because once they got unstuck, they went hard and heavy on that defense, bringing it from an overwhelmingly blue win to something as close as 1 single tri-ball under that goal. What a difference good defensive plan can make. That was tight, and that match should not have been that tight based on the fact that 2088S was stuck in that corner, but they pulled it in, man. Almost got tied and almost might have even beaten them, depending on how the rest of that match played out. That is a really tight match considering what happened on that
I'm being
field.
told by the booth right now that now we're going to have an opportunity to see what the game rules are for the 2023-2024 game over under.
2024 Vex Robotics competition season, and this year's game, VRC Over Under. Over Under is a head-to-head game played by 2 alliances.